Now it's time to get down to business, and it's my great pleasure to welcome your President, the President of the Northern Territory Cattlemen's Association, Henry Burke.
So, Romy, just some instruction. Did I have to turn this as I go along? That's my job as well. Hard for me to do two things at once. Sorry? I'd love you to do it. I'll give you the nod. So, in coming up here today as my first address as President, I've been getting a few tips from Will. And he said, mate, it's the first 3 minutes. Get your adrenaline under control in the first 3 minutes and you'll be right. So, a little bit of chit-chat beforehand is helping me do that. Okay, good morning everyone, and welcome to the annual NTCA conference. I would like to especially acknowledge the members of the association here with us today, as well as our guests and friends who have travelled from interstate or driven on rough roads to be with us all. A big thank you to our sponsors as well. Without their support, events like this don't happen. I'd like to begin by especially acknowledging our special guests, those being our life member medalists, former presidents, members of the Executive Committee, past and present, ministers, NTCA members and guests. Welcome to you all. Now, I've been on and off the NTCA Executive since 2002. That's more than 20 years, and I must admit there's been a couple of occasions before last year where I considered putting my hand up for President before quickly coming to my senses. And probably the biggest reason I didn't want to do this job was because I wanted to avoid getting up here to have this address. From the previous presidents who've done a particularly excellent job at doing their roles as presidents. And probably the biggest reasons I didn't want this job was because I was avoiding coming in behind David Connolly, making it harder for the rest of us. Setting a very high bar, David. It's a deterrent to the job. Now, on a serious matter, and while we're on the subject of former presidents, I also need to mention that David Warner is unable to be with us here today because he is seriously ill. I know you'll all join me in sending David and his family our best wishes in a difficult time. There will be many glasses raised for him tonight, and I'm sure more stories of happier times. To David, we send our well wishes. I need to mention the sad passing of Luke Bowen, a true legend of the Territory and the NTCA. Luke is greatly missed. I also need to acknowledge the recent passing of Ian McBean. Ian could be best summed up in a few words, and that is Ian was a true cattleman and champion of the NTCA from the very beginning. Both Luke and Ian leave a big legacy for us all to follow. As they've become part of tradition of these addresses, mine today has a theme. For the conference, our theme for the day is Success in Every Cut, Celebrating Our Thriving Industry. For my address, I wanted to be more targeted. So I will be talking about celebrating the hard work of a thriving industry and talking about the opportunities that have come from this dedication and resilience. I also feel like I'm the right person to talk about it. I started work in this industry in 1973. For those of you who can't do maths, yes, I'm turning 37 later this year. I started as a young ringer on stations around Cloncurry. As I worked my way up, I learned of being I learnt being a hard worker is the most important thing. I learnt how to be a cattleman in the Queensland Gulf Country, Western Queensland, and in the Barkly. I learnt that with hard work came confidence, and as my confidence grew, I was able to give it to others. As you all know, confidence is important in an industry like ours. Combined with good skill and experience, confidence is critical. When you're in a paddock and 100 kilometres away from anyone to ask advice for, trusting your instincts is important. When you're in that same paddock and you've got an entire crew looking for you for a decision, confidence is vital. But you have to earn that confidence. Those people who are just born with it can be dangerous. Those who assume their confidence works and use it as a substitute form of knowledge and experience can get themselves into trouble. Now it's fair to ask, why am I talking about confidence so much? What is the point I'm trying to make? It's been a long time since business in the Territory felt any degree of confidence in the government. That's not to say there weren't good ministers in the previous government. There was, and we had good working relationships with them. But when I look back on the number of issues we took to the last government for help, and then look back on the amount of help we ended up receiving, the scales were definitely in the problems left unsolved category. They were a government who seemed to struggle with getting their confidence going. While they had good people, I believe met us well, the reality was either the knowledge or the experience mix just didn't seem to be right, and the lack of this made it hard to ever really get going. This is a good lesson worth learning for the new government. Their signs are good. There seems to be a strong mix of knowledge of the private sector, knowledge of the public sector, and experience working in the Territory amongst the new ministers. That's a good thing for everyone. And our message is clear to them. We're here to help, leverage our knowledge, leverage our skills, and let us build confidence together in time. They have a good pool of collective expertise to rely on, and that's us. We are eager to grow the Territory, and you can rely on us to be here when you need it. To be honest, that's the same message we said to the last government. There is so much conflict in the Territory. There are too many people who see everything as being us and them. It's not. It's almost everyone actually agrees on the majority of issues, but there are too many things that keep going around and round in circles. We all know we need to grow our economy, but it isn't appreciated by everyone that it needs to be simpler. Let us grow our businesses. There is too much complexity in what are actually simple problems. Creating more efficient processes for processes that shouldn't exist in the first place isn't going to get us where we need to go. We need to get rid of what isn't needed and focus all our energy on what is needed. The current government has announced the establishment of a Territory Coordinator to help business with these challenges. They have also appointed a task force to identify how regulatory processes can be fixed to help business investment. These steps are welcomed and show a greater focus on business than there has been for some time. What has been revealed in this process, though, is how loud, angry and dangerous the voices are that oppose development in the Territory are, and how so much of their power is derived from fear. I've got lost here somewhere. I've worked in the industry all my life. My children all work in this industry, and perhaps my grandchildren will as well. I know if they choose to, a job will be there. For all my working life, I've been a developer of this country, and in my life here, there can be no denying that this country has changed. But if anything, it has gotten better, more diverse, better managed. Development provides you with capital, and capital provides you with ability to make good decisions. When you have to choose between looking after something or feeding your children, the choice is simple. But when you have options, you can do both at the same time. Then good things happen to nature and to your community. For many of us here, our land mirrors our identity. Maintaining its health fills us with pride. Yet during dry spells and looming droughts, stress mounts. Among us are those who've sacrificed financially to safeguard our land for the next season. I don't know when it became the way that people who wanted to grow their businesses and develop the land became a threat to some groups and caused confrontation and conflict. I don't know when it was decided that people who lived their entire lives on the land, spent every dollar they had on the land, whose whole desire was to keep improving the land and working their land assets for long enough to pass on to the next generation, became the focus of so much anger. This government has promised to ease the path for development. Now it's the job of organisations like the NTCA to do two things. We must help our members go down this road, and we must help the community understand. We are not bad. Our pride is in our country, and we are the best at managing it anywhere in the world. I just want to stop here and I want to ask a serious question. Who anywhere in the world is better than we are at raising cattle and looking after our country? What standard is it that we need to meet? I cannot think of a single place anywhere, a single person anywhere, better at it than the people in this room. And in truth, I don't think they exist. To have our morals questioned by some of these people is an insult, when they seem not to have any morals at all. But there are others who have responsibilities too. The environmentalists, the community organisations have a responsibility to tell the truth. They have a responsibility not to create unreasonable levels of fear amongst the community. They have a responsibility to work with developers and not oppose absolutely everything that anyone wants to do. The NTCA takes great pride in truth being the basis of our position on these matters, that we don't ignore concerns but also put them into context and make balanced decisions. We're asking others to do the same. Now, it wouldn't be an NTCA President's Address if I didn't talk about roads. It is well known that the first meeting of the NTCA more than 40 years ago, that the first agenda item was about roads. I'm ashamed to say that roads were better then. Somehow, with all our advocacy, with all the money that's been spent, the roads are worse now than ever. I know that trucks have gotten bigger and a million other reasons why this is the case, but these excuses simply aren't good enough anymore. Last year, the NTCA co-sponsored a report with the Department of Infrastructure into the challenges of maintaining the regional road network that can be driven on for the majority of the year. We invested in this together. This report makes a number of common sense recommendations to address the system that administer this road network. We aren't calling for billions of dollars of investment. We aren't making demands. The message we're sending loud and clear is that the situation is so bad, this is beyond politics, this is beyond media attention. It has become about our ability to keep the regions alive. We want to seek solutions together. We want to help. We're happy to do the hard work, to use our skills and experience and knowledge to help. We are confident in our ability to do so, but our voices need to be respected and listened to. The NTCA also took significant work last year fighting for the reform within bushfires and followed a very similar approach. Once again, we're not demanding millions more to be invested in the agency or spent on the pastoral industry. The millions are already there. But the departments need to listen better and ask us for assistance rather than thinking that the badge they wear brings with it our levels of experience. For a simple reason, we have big fires. They burn hot, they burn often, and unearned confidence is dangerous not only to them but to us as well. We won't risk our lives and those of our people because someone is telling us what we should and shouldn't do on our land. We are here to work with you, but we need to be consulted, not told. The Bushfires Review has made that clear, and we look forward to working with the government on fixing the issues identified. Now, there's always 1,000 issues I could talk about, and rest assured that the work of the team in the office is constant. There is one issue that I want to finish with that I think all of us here are sick of talking about. Next month, we'll again go to the Federal Court to attempt to finalise the compensation for the Brett cattle class action. While the Prime Minister has claimed that this is a normal legal process and there's no politics involved, the actions of his cabinet show different. In July last year, the Attorney-General of this country came out and claimed that the cattle producers were trying to line our pockets with taxpayer money unreasonably. And that's why the case hasn't been settled. But that wasn't the most concerning thing. The most concerning thing was that he criticised the decision. Now, for Australia's Attorney-General to criticise a judge of the Federal Court for a decision that found a majority of the current federal cabinet responsible for actions they undertook in 2011 is two things. Firstly, if politics is a direct conflict with the claims made by the Prime Minister that his cabinet was trying to interfere in this case, the second is worse so. We have separations of powers in this country, the courts, the Parliament and the executive. For Australian People's Attorney to attack the courts based on a decision that found him and his mates liable to the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars drives at the core of who we are. And it speaks to something bigger. When it comes to this case, this government is doing everything it can to drag it out, to keep it going, in the hope it won't have to be them, the people who caused this in the first place, to have to admit they did wrong. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is not what we expect from any leader. Plain and simple, it's the opposite of the values we teach school children. And it's a poor reflection on any government. Now, that is a topic that I could talk about all day, but I think at this point, you call a politician childish, you probably need to stop talking about them altogether. And this year, I've got a special job to get on with beyond just the President's address. As you will have all heard, our current Chief Executive, Will Evans, is standing down as CEO today. He's still in the hot seat until late tonight though, so if you need anything from him today, he's still got to do it. Work him. You should ask, he's not really that busy. This week we announced Romy as being appointed to replace Will as our new CEO. And in a moment I'm going to bring Romy up on stage, much to her surprise. But before she does, I wanted to explain something. Romy has been an incredible, valuable member on our team for years. She knows the membership and was appointed by Will and the previous executive to the role of Deputy CEO more than 18 months ago. We've invested heavily in her development. She's done nothing but exceed our expectations with her work. There was really no other choice for the role. We didn't need to advertise, we didn't need to look around, we didn't need to interview. We knew what qualities were needed and Romy has all of them. She begins this role with the full support of the executive and the membership. Now you'll be hearing from her later today, but first I'd like you all please to join with me in welcoming Romy to the stage for a photo.